half acres, people here are looking for tax, are they just walking in? Fine, we see the trucks come in, the telephone poles, everything's going great.
Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Pasquale, for those questions. The property in question, the 6.5 acres, would not be taxed or subject to taxation, just as it currently is not subject to taxation. So I guess that's a net even. However, since it would add to the value of the plan of RMLD, it would in turn generate increased revenues to the town in the payments that they make. And I think for consideration of the parcel in question, the other article, Article 3 specifically, refers to 2 parcels of land that would come to the town, and it would be up to the town, through the Board of Selectmen and through the town meeting, to determine what would in fact happen to those parcels. However, the Board of Selectmen, relative to 24 Haverhill Street, has indicated, at least preliminarily, its desire to sell that parcel as a residence and take those revenues, and that would in turn return that parcel to the tax rolls, and those revenues would go to the general fund for a decision to be made by some future town meeting as to their final use. Maybe perhaps DPW Director Hanlon or Len Rucker can speak a little more specifically to the design and your concerns about environmental issues out at that site. But it would be a site that is maintained, designed in conjunction with the town of North Reading and RMLD, and maintained by Reading Municipal Light Department with all the applicable design and building standards that would be enforced at the time. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
On the motion, Mr. Reitmeyer, do you have a... First Mr. Reitmeyer and then the other gentleman.
No. Mr. Moderator, I agree with what the statement Mr. O'Brien made about moving this ahead. I am voting 150% in favor of all 3 questions, whether they be one at a time or all 3. But I do have a problem of making the motion and then terminating debate. Moving the question is to terminate debate, not suppress it. There may be a few people in this hall that came here tonight to speak against it, and I think they should be given their say. However, we can allow them to say, and then we can turn around and vote the way we intend to. I am going to vote for it. But again, I think people who might have shown up, there's nobody in this room that can speak for everybody. And those who might have shown up to be opposed to it should be given their civil rights too.
Gentleman in the aisle, please state your name and address, sir.
Larry Diamond. I see no one else standing. I'd like to move to the question.
Motion is to terminate debate. Motion for the question. On the motion for the question, everybody in favor of terminating debate, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carried. And I guess would all those opposed please raise their right hand? 1. All those in favor please raise their right hand? 200. Motion for the question is terminated. Under our bylaws, after a motion for the question has been adopted, the proponents have 2 minutes to complete their case. I take it the proponent waive their 2 minutes. Therefore, we are ready for the question, and the question is on the main motion. Does anybody want me to read the main motion that's before us? I don't see anybody requesting for me to read it, therefore I will not read it. On the main motion under Article 1, two-thirds vote is required. Will all those in favor please say aye? Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. We don't need to count it if it's unanimous. Article 2.
Mr. Moderator, I move to transfer the care, custody, management, and control from the Board of Selectmen for highway/water department, garage, and yard purposes to the Board of Selectmen for such purpose and for the purpose of granting a non-exclusive easement for access and utilities to the town of Reading, acting by and through its municipal light board, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen on such terms and conditions as the Board of Selectmen may determine, which may be wholly or partly in consideration of a conveyance of land or interest in land to the town, to convey to said town of Reading such easement over the access road shown on the plan entitled Public Works Garage Access Road, North Reading, Mass., dated July 31st, 1971, being a portion of the land shown as Parcel 1 and Parcel 3 on the plan entitled Plan of Land in North Reading, Mass., dated July 8th, 1968, recorded with the Middlesex South District Registry of Deeds as Plan Number 481 of 1969 in Book 11681, page end, as specified in Article 2 as printed in the warrant.
Moderator, the Finance Committee recommends.
Does the Board of Selectmen have a recommendation, Mr. Jones Jr.?
The Board of Selectmen recommend.
Does the Community Planning Commission have a recommendation? You've heard the recommendations. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. On the motion, as read by the chairman by Mr. Jones, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Mr. Jones.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the following person be admitted to the meeting. Bill Burdett, RMLD, or actually Reading Municipal Light Board.
You've heard the motion to admit Mr. Bill Byrd III to the meeting. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Mr. Jones, Article 3.
Mr. Moderator, I move to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift or purchase, which gift or purchase may be wholly or partly in consideration of a swap of the land described in Article 1 of this warrant and the easement described in Article 2 of this warrant from the town of Reading, the fee ownership interest, easement, restriction, or other interest in the land commonly known as 24 Havel Street and 57 Havel Street in North Reading, as specified in Article 3, is printed in the warrant.
Mr. Moderator, the Finance Committee recommends.
Does the Board of Selectmen have a recommendation, Mr. Jones Jr.?
Mr. Moderator, the Board of Selectmen recommend, and as we approach our last article, I'd like to reiterate my appreciation for the help of the Reading Board of Selectmen, Reading Town Meeting, the Light Board, the CAB. Mr. O'Leary worked very hard with me on this. We attended a meeting and actually worked out pretty much all the details shortly after the public hearing. But most of all, we'd like to thank the citizenry of North Reading from across the town that showed up tonight to what I think take a large step in re-emphasizing our community pride and trying to preserve our community in what I consider a win-win situation. So, Mr. Moderator, once again, the Board of Selectmen unanimously recommends. Thank you.
Does the CPC have a recommendation? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the motion, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. Mr. Vino.
Mr. Moderator, I move to adjourn town meeting, scene date.
Motion is to adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carried.